So this is the speaking mock test of the International English Language Testing System. My name is Michael. Could you tell me your full name?
Thank you. My name is Appointed for you.
And I should call you?
Incredible Diamond.
Okay, Incredible Diamond. We start the first part of the test by asking you some personal questions. So let's talk about maps. Do you ever use maps?
Yes, I can say because of my engagement in my secondary school subjects, amongst all the subjects I was offered, geography was one of the courses I offered, and it entails me to use map in some of these subjects as I studied when I was in secondary school.
Okay. So when do people usually need to use a map?
It depends on the motive of them using a map. It could be for a research purpose, and it could be for a personal development or to navigate the direction, maybe when they are embarking on the journey and they don't know the direction. So a map can be used via maybe using a GPS or any other ways.
All right. So do you prefer electronic or paper map?
It depends. It depends on the situation that warrants that you use. It could be it could be electronic, or it could be map, depending on the situation that warrants. But tentatively, I think electronic map is okay because it covers a wide range of location, and it could be updated.
All right. So do you ever ask people for direction instead of using a map?
I can say that depending on the situation that warrants either asking people on the location or going through it by directly. But I personally, because of some situation that I've been to, I rather ask people because they are familiar with that environment.
All right. So let's talk about games. What games are popular in your country?
Because my country is the highest populated country in Africa, and many people are into indoor games and outdoor games. But if you are to pick randomly, I think football is the most popular game in the country.
Okay. So do you ever play any games?
Because of my leisure time and my work schedule, I've been able to engage in some indoor game because I'm an introvert and I love playing Scrabble a lot. So I've engaged in some games.
Okay. So how do people learn to play games in your country?
Like I said earlier on, people are extroverts and some people are introverts. So it depends on their traits that makes them to engage in different games that suit them, or maybe they are physically challenged. There are some games that are meant for the Paralympics, and there are some games that physically challenged people, and some games are meant for people that are not physically challenged, and some are intellectual. So it depends on what suits them and their disabilities at time.
Okay. So let's talk about travels. What form of transport do you prefer to use when you travel?
We have different constraints in locations. Some locations are not easily accessible by road because some are surrounded by water and some are accessible because of they have a lot of social amenities. So amongst all my journeys in life, I've been able to embark on or using of different means of transportation, and amongst them, because of the comfortability, I love using and traveling by air.
Okay. So how much time do you spend traveling on a normal day?
Because of the nature of my job, I've been able to minimize my traveling because my job needs attention, and I spend less time traveling. If I might want to embark on any journey, I would rather use travel by air because of it has a little short period of time for travel.
All right. So with that, we come to the end of the first part. So we'll go to the second part. So here I'll give you a task. Then you have a minute to think of what to say. Then 2 minutes to speak. pen to make jottings if you wish. So you are to describe a well-known person you like or admire. So you should say who this person is, what this person has done, why this person is well known, and explain why you admire this person. So do you understand? All right. So you have a minute to think of what to say. All right. So 1 minute is over. So you may start speaking. Don't worry, I'll start doing it in a minute.
Thank you very much. So, there is this world known philanthropist that I've been able to meet via social media a long time ago, and I've been able to patronize his company over the time. His name is Tony, and his tall, is dark, is masculine, and he has a well-known physique that people love to associate with, and he's a philanthropist. He owns a bank in Africa, which is widely spread across the globe. And he has been a very good person. He's a philanthropist, and like I said earlier, and he has a foundation called Tony Foundation, and he helps young entrepreneurs to develop their business skills, to maximize the opportunity in Africa as an entity, and it gives funds to people, like I said. And what I admire about him is I would like to emulate this kind of nature, to help people grow, to help people become whom they are trained to be. And that's one of the things that I love about his vision. That is why he's well known and recognized in society. And the reason why I admire him is because he socialized a lot in networks, and he's a billionaire that doesn't put his mind on his riches. So he has been able to socialize and network himself, people, and familiarize with people in the society. So I would like to emulate him, by God's grace, to be like him in the next future, because of the way he helps his neighbor, he gives back to society, and that is what I feel rich people should do.
All right. So your 2 minutes is over. So we've been talking. Okay, I would have my paper and pen back. Thank you. All right. All right. So we'll be talking about a well-known person you liked or admired. So I'll be asking you questions relating to this topic. So let's talk about famous people in your country. So what kinds of people become famous these days?
My country in particular, I've noticed over time that people that are into content creating, people that entertain, people that go into music, that go into acting, are more famous, because that is where the world is trending towards now. So in my country, in particular, people that are into social media, content creating, and socializing people, these are people that are well known in my country, and in addition to politicians.
All right. So is this different from the kind of achievements that made people famous in the past?
If you are to compare the past with the present, then there is not much of social content creating in the past. People that are well known in the past are known for a particular aspect of life. For example, the politicians, like one that reigns most time, but because of a lot of amenities that are available in society now, as many people that are even indoor in their corner of their life, they've been able to showcase themselves to the world.
All
So
right.
I think
So, how do you think people will become famous in the future?
I can say um, people become famous or popularly known in the future. We still continue with the same trend that has been in vogue presently because it's just a multiplication of what is happening now as is going to happen continuously. So I can say people are just modifying things in this time. So people will get more popularly known as they modify as it gets more inventions. It's what we are presently using in this area.
All right. So, let's talk about being in the public eye. So, what are the good things about being famous?
Hmm. In my own view, I would say being the benefit of being popular are numerous. And amongst them, I would like to mention some few, they get more accolades outside, they get access to things that are not accessible to the commoners. So there are some benefit that is attached to being famous in this part of the world, they make them and they give them honors and they become brand ambassadors to some companies. They become the faces of some companies that which give them monetary values in the future.
All right. So, how does the media in your country treat famous people?
Mm. In my perspective, I think the media has been able to advance the life of famous people, and it has altered um, a lot of difference in this world because they help them to bring out their self being. Some people are not are that shy and because of the social media content, they've been able to come around them to help them. And some people that are not even that are once famous that are down the lane, and social media has helped them to revolve their lifestyle again, to bring them to the world and to have them showcase to the world again so that they will not be forgotten all of a sudden.
Okay. So, why do you think ordinary people are interested in the lives of famous people?
If you are to look at that, if you are to compare and contrast in that sense, I think ordinary people want to become famous and they want to be like who they are because famous people are influential. So they want to pattern their life according to how the famous people done or what they are doing, and it has helped them to be a mentee to them to people that are popular now.
Okay. So, with that, we come to the end of the test.
Thank you very much.
So, how do you feel?
I feel refreshed.
All right.
Yeah.
That's nice. It's nice to hear that. I think overall you tried. You did um, pretty well. Yeah. You used. Let's look at the various assessment criteria that we have that by which you are examined. So look at the fluency, coherence, the grammatical range and accuracy, lexical resources, and the pronunciation. Now, really, your fluency coherence was very okay. I love the pace of your speech, even though at some point you were like rushing, rushing somehow, and it affected. It caused some kind of grammatical errors in some areas. But I think you spoke well. You were natural. You spoke naturally. Okay, so your speech was natural. You were not trying to fake accent for me. So it's a good one. That now I also love the way you introduce your answers. Now most of the times when you want to start your answers, you start with introductory phrases or clauses, and it's a very good way to start your answer, and it made your session very conversational. And I think that is very okay. That's something you should maintain. Okay, so you use some kind of linkers, you use some conjunctions that you solve those, and your some kind of conjuncts as well. So like also, for example, for instance, so you use some of those linkers and they were very good. Now your lexical resources was good as well. So going to the lexical resources now, it's a very good one. Your paraphrase was well, so you weren't repeating my questions after me. So you didn't repeat the content of my questions. So you used a wide range of related words, okay, and these were purely like related to the context of discussion, to the topics we were talking about or speaking on. So they were very nice. We used words like GPS, engagement, trade, physically challenged people, philanthropies, and a lot more. All right, so I took note of a lot of them. So they are very good, and I still feel like you can improve more, can use more complex words. Okay, so like I said, looking at your pronunciation, I think you spoke very well. Like I said earlier, that your speech was natural. So you weren't faking accent, and it's a very good thing to do on the IELTS. So IELTS likes you to speak naturally. All right, so be yourself. You don't have to fake anything. All right, so and like I like as you were very clear in your presentation of ideas. So your ideas were clearly presented. So you were loud, audible enough you were audible enough so I could hear all you said. So it's a good one. Okay. And looking at the grammatical range and accuracy, I think you did well here, except for some kind of errors that we noticed. But aside that, you did well. You used some kind of boosters like making comparisons and other things. So making comparisons are actually very advisable in this type of test. Okay, so if possible, make comparisons when you speak, and this you really did well, right? So there's some kind of errors that we noticed. Let's see some of the errors. You said something like the subject I was offered, the fact that you were rushing a bit. Like I think when we first started, you were speaking normally. When you got to a time, you were putting pressure on yourself. So I think you can calm that pressure by like trying to reduce the pace of your speech, the tempo of your speech. I think if you do that, the grammatical errors would like really reduce. For example, a place you said the subject I was offered. Now, instead of the subject I offered, so you wanted to say the subject you offered, but you said the subject I was offered in the secondary school, so it was not a very good one.
Besides, it's even wrong to say the subject I offered in the secondary school. Rather, it should be the subject I took in the secondary school. The teacher offers you the subject while you, as a student, take the subject.
All right, so yeah, another place you said you wanted to say the benefit of being popular is dash is so. The benefits of that was in the third part when we asked you what are the benefits of the advantages of being popular. Now you said the benefits of being populous instead of popular. So that's part of the rushing they are trying to say that you're putting so much pressure on yourself by rushing. So if not, that would not have come up. Okay, so popular, not popular, so part of it. And you said something like I'm humble. Now you shouldn't be an humble person. You should be a humble person. So the H there is not silent. So it is when you have H silent that you can use and. For example, an honest man is correct, but here it is a humble man. So because humble, the H, that sound there is pronounced, so it cannot be and so it should be a. Then we have some kind of self-repetition as well. So in the speech, like for example, sometimes you were repeating. When you were talking about that was in part two. We're talking about your Tony in Melu. So you were somehow repeating the same thing. Is it something like he's a philanthropist? He's a philanthropist. So you kept say hammering on that repeatedly at intervals. So I think it's something you. I understand that that must be at least. I think that might be as a result of trying to source for ideas of what to say, but I think you could have avoided it by using some hesitations. All right, so that's that. And there were some errors. You said something like a bank widely spread abroad. So he has a bank widely spread abroad. Since it's a bank, you would have said he has a bank that is very popular locally and abroad. So instead of a bank, assuming he has more than one bank, you would have said he has banks he has banks widely spread abroad. So that means he has a lot of branches abroad. So that would have been, but since it's a bank he has and it's recognized abroad, you could have possibly put it as bank very popular abroad. So but overall, you did very well. The session was well, and I said it. You made comparison, which was like a booster. Your introductory phrases and clauses made your fluency very well, and I encourage that you do that more. All right. So phrases like because of the nature of my job, say something like if you are to compare these two. So those were nice introductory phrases, in my own opinion, in my own view. So I think they were nice start. So overall, I think you did very well. And here we're looking at a 7.7. I think it's a very nice band score, right? So a 7.0 is nice. I think you could even improve it and make it a band 8. Okay, you can still improve it by 1. All right, so and in order to have this improvement, one, you have to slow down the pace of your speech, okay, so that you have fewer grammatical errors and all the other form of errors. Okay, so and you would you will not make some mistakes in pronunciation. For example, where you wanted to say popular, you say populous. So they were different things. So I think reducing the pace also would help you a big deal, would help you tremendously. And you can still use more complex words, okay? So you can improve more on the complex words. And another thing I'd like to mention is that try to give more examples. There were instances I think that you would have given examples, but you didn't give, although you gave some, but I think you could have given more examples to support your points. So a band 7, nice one. So how do you feel about the band?
There can be an improvement.
Okay, so
I'm open for more improvements.
all right, thank you so much. So it's nice having the test with you. Thank you so much. So